live, baby. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in to another episode 42 of About the Night. You're rocking with the crew tonight. Got my boy Warren, Rob, Winton. Let's dive in. Of course, Tony couldn't be with us tonight, as he's reporting live from Aftershock. Said one of his best groups he wants to hear is Slipknot. So, you know, shout outs to Aftershock as they're rocking the Garden Highways. What is it, Discovery Park?
Yo, they're Discovery.
Yeah.
They had a good lineup.
Yeah.
I say. I'm not the biggest rock fan, but there's a few on there I actually listen to.
Right. Few familiar names.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
on there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Reporting live from Aftershock. See what our guy Tony's able to do. But, man, it's been a crazy, crazy weekend, man. Let's go ahead and just see what happened,
What was your weekend, bro?
Something always goes down every weekend. I mean, it was, I work, man. I'm Mr. No days off. Even when I'm off, I'm working. Yeah, I dig, which I ain't off. So, but nah, man. I didn't do too much of nothing, to be 100% honest with you. My kid started soccer. I love that. I got him in a little bit of an advanced class, and, he was running around, bumping heads, getting in it. So that was pretty much my only highlight of the weekend, man. Whenever I get to see my son run around and do something fun or something out of his normal, yeah, that's what's up. What happened with you?
Man, kind of similar with the kids. My daughter, she had a gymnastics competition, man. Was number 1 overall.
That's what's up.
She took, man. Yeah. She really killed it, man. I was really impressed. It was really a proud moment, especially for her, because she was really excited. Yeah. To get all those medals and everything. So
taking number 1.
Yeah, she was doing really good. Youngest on the team, smallest on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really impressive and everything. Watch football.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of chilled. Work. Similar stuff. Ain't nothing new. Just kind of going through it. What I'm trying to do is kind of beat this heat, man. I'm tired of it's October.
Right. Yeah.
And I still got to run my AC.
Right.
It's bothering me right now.
It's been cooling down. It ain't been the 100-degree weather that it has been.
Still it's like 93 still though during the day. That's warm for October.
I feel you there.
Like it's gonna be Halloween and kids ain't even gonna need no jacket outside. Hey man, we trying to get to hoodie weather.
Yeah. I think a couple years ago it rained during Halloween or something. Man, yeah, it was wild.
You can't see it, bro. You supposed to see women out here with the hoodies, Ugg boots, right, and a pumpkin spice latte in their hand.
Legging season.
That motherfucker sound good right now. Warren, what happened with you this weekend?
Man, my weekend was chill, man. I actually did get to step out. I stepped out Saturday night for a little bit. I stopped by my old stopping grounds and where I used to work at. But,
okay.
It was pretty chill. It was nice to see all the old homies. There was a lot of love. Everybody was showing me love from coming through.
Man, and you didn't fucking call me.
It was honestly I didn't even want to go.
This guy.
What was it? What type of event?
It was just a regular night.
Oh, just chilling.
Yeah,
just chilling.
Just stopped by because the lady wanted to go. So.
What night was it?
Saturday night.
Okay, was it popping?
It was so.
Okay.
It wasn't really nothing too crazy.
Okay.
Honestly, like I said, it was more fun seeing the old coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So catch up with them and got like crazy job offers to come back and work in house and get away from CPG. But other than that, man, I spent a lot of my time watching one of our topics, man, the Dahmer show.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in a lot of time watching that, and it was interesting to say the least.
We'll definitely get into that. But what I wanted to say about what you said, man, you got to let me know when you're going out and on which nights. Obviously, as you see,
we ain't get no invite.
None.
Warren don't love us, bro.
None.
It was low key. It was low key.
Those are nice to get some good footage. You know what I mean? We've been going out around town, really hitting up all the clubs and kind of letting other people see where to go and when to go. Monday through Friday edition. We already had week 1 through in the books, considering week 2. But you guys got to go ahead and smash a like on that video, whether you catch it on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, what's the other one? TikTok. Go ahead and smash a like. If we get more likes, we'll continue to do that, not only in this city, but we'll start expanding, different cities, different states. And I really want to hit Nevada for real, to be honest with you.
Reno.
You know what I mean? Hey, start expanding.
Nice ring to it.
Right? Find out where to go, when to go each and every night, man. We're hitting them, and we just trying to show you guys what we got. Other than that, yeah, man, we had some scary videos, scary news to talk about as quarterback. Let me make sure I get this guy's name right on the first try. Tua Tagovailoa. I still said it wrong, huh?
F for effort.
Tua Tagovailoa. Tua.
Yeah, I think that, Tua. Yeah.
Tagovailoa. Whatever, man. I mean, we could throw jokes out there. He was throwing up gang signs and this, that, and the other to try to ease the situation.
That's too soon, man.
I know, man, but it was a pretty tough watch. And and hear me out. It was a tough watch the week before that.
Yeah.
For whoever was silly enough to let the man get back up and go back in the second half. Now, I'm going to have my own opinions about it, but I'm going to hear what you got to say.
No, you speak on it. Go ahead.
It's just, there's this movie, Any Given Sunday, Jamie Foxx, Al Capone. Is it Cameron Diaz?
Al Capone.
Or Al Capone. Al Pacino. They both gangsters in my mind. Scarface, Anyway,
Al Pacino's an actor.
But still, man, shit, to me, that motherfucker, hey, Tony Montana to me, man. Tony Montana. Anyways, that movie.
Pelican fly, pelican.
Fly, pelican fly. It's okay. Anyways, that movie, Any Given Sunday, had a defensive lineman who was suffering from concussions.
That's Lawrence Taylor.
There we go.
Yeah.
LT. So in that movie, the player, wanted to be out there on that field, regardless of the doctor's order.
I mean, but at the end of the day, they all do.
But we're all going to say and do the right thing, man. Think about how big this season is for him. They finally invested money in weapons for him to actually just let loose on, and he's finally starting to look like he could be an elite quarterback. I'd want to be out there. I'd want to be out there every second. I remember when I was playing football. I went to a private school. I had to have a 2.5 GPA in order to play. I got like a 2.3 at the time. They kicked me off. I cried. I wanted to do anything I could to get back out there with my guys. I wanted to play.
How you feel?
Wanted to practice.
How you feel?
Hey man. The school was harder than public schools. Let me just say that. I went to a private school to play ball. I played ball. Hey.
He said he failed lunch.
Man, y'all need to understand. So. Y'all need to understand. The shit was harder. It was harder.
I think that's the one he was getting A+ in.
Oh man, I was in the gym, bro. Gym wasn't the subject.
What was your worst subject?
It was chemistry. Hate to say it. I don't know what it was, but English.
I agree with you. I didn't like chemistry.
I ain't like English leader.
I did it. I did well in it, but I didn't like it. History was my shit.
Anything with numbers.
Yeah.
I loved history.
Anyways, in general, like, as players, you want to play every damn down. But as management, as an owner, and you wanting to see this guy's future, he looked fucked up in the first half.
Right.
You don't put him back in the second half. You let him sit. Now, if you let him sit that second half, and then he comes back this week and he plays and this happens again, it looks better. It looks like, he did pass, concussion protocol. We let him sit just to be for safety measures instead of rushing him back out there in the second half. And then if it happens in the second game, it's like, dang, wow, maybe there's another serious issue. Opposed to, no, we didn't care. We saw what happened on the field, but we felt good about it. We felt confident that he should go back out there. No, a decision needs to be made for player safety. As simple as that. And if you can't make that decision, and you throw him back out there, what you did, now you got to live with the repercussion of now we're looking at the outside in, like, who's really to blame? Is it the doctor? I know you let him go.
Right.
But was it really the doctor's decision? Or was it the player / the coach?
I mean, I'm going to say my opinion, but, let's get somebody else's opinion that's a lot more valuable than ours. As I always say, it's just a few niggas talking up here.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and pull that up, Warren, the first tab. Let's hear what Stephen A. had to say about it. Hold on. Go ahead.
Stephen A. This motherfucker.
Take it from here, Molly. Somebody needs to be fired. Now, I don't know who, but somebody got to go.
Cut straight to it.
At the very least, a suspension. Now, pulling him back in.
Right.
I don't know if it's additional medical personnel that were involved that gave the okay for him to be on the field last night. But listen to what what folks have been saying since last night transpired with Tua. They say you had a concussion, and obviously it's easier to get another one. Within a span of 4 to 5 days, I don't care what anybody says. I don't want to hear anything about a back. I didn't see him hold his back. I didn't see him put his arms in his back. Not one time Sunday. I saw him get up. I saw that gross mobile instability. He got up, and he damn near collapsed right back down.
Yep.
I'm looking at Mike McDaniels, the coach. I'm wondering, what the hell are you thinking? Now, some people will say, hey, you're the coach. If the medical staff gives you the okay to play a player, then you go ahead and you play the player. But you're a human being. You got 2 eyes. You know what you saw out there. What about that? I'm looking at the NFLPA. Get your investigation going. Keep pushing. The NFL do the same thing. Find out what the hell went on. And guess who else I'm holding accountable to some degree? His teammates. I want to go.
I didn't think about that.
I say this because I know Bart is on the set sitting right next to me.
Okay. You can cut that.
You're a player.
As far as
You know, this is an expert, obviously. You know, or at least he does this for a living. Everybody knows Stephen A. Smith with ESPN on ESPN First Take.
Any sports cast, yeah.
I know Shannon has something to say about it too, and he's a Tua fan, also. You know, somebody that supports him. Somebody did fuck up.
Yeah, big time.
And
Big time.
you know, I think the Miami Dolphins organization got a lot of questions that they're gonna have to answer for. Who's responsible? I think it's gonna come out of whatever investigations unfold going forward. I think did they fire the medical doctor?
They did.
I think they have.
That's a quick solution.
And sometimes in these situations, you know, a lot of times to avoid litigation or culpability, they make decisions like this to have somebody be the scapegoat. It might not have been the medical doctor's fault necessarily. It could have been somebody else, and they're just like, "Hey, somebody got to take this hit." You know, you just one brick in this house.
Right.
The rest of this house got to stay up.
Very true.
And so he could be just taking the brunt of this, so they can absolve themselves of responsibility. But there's two sides to it, you know, when it comes to these things, and it's a very thin line, you know. And right now, in sports in general, concussion protocol, player safety, you know, that's at an all-time high right now. It's at, you know, and it's at all levels. It's at the collegiate level, it's at the high school level, it's even at, you know, the pee-wee level, like just, you know, in junior midgets, just you know, Pop Warner football. You know, I know, especially in the state of California, a lot of people talk about it all the time. Like, my son's played, you know, a handful of seasons, and when I would go to some of the meetings that they would have, especially in the beginning of the season, usually the president of the league would, you know, talk to everybody, parents and coaches and things like that. And I remember they would always bring up and cite, you know, certain cases where the league got sued, you know, because someone got paralyzed, a kid gets paralyzed. And I know it's been, you know, talked about that it might get to the point, if these lawsuits keep happening,
No more.
and things like that, it's going to be no more tackle football until you get to high school, possibly even college, just at least out here anyway. Just because, you know, the program, if they keep getting sued and losing money, they ain't going to have enough money to generate to support the league in general, you know, because that's what it is. It's supported by the people, the board of directors, people that are funding the league, and if they keep getting sued, then they're losing money on the investment. Right. So player safety is the biggest thing, but I think it's two sides to it. I think at the same time too, the players know what they signing up for.
Very true. Very true.
You playing in a league where it's grown ass men, moving fast, and these guys ain't getting nothing but bigger and stronger and faster.
Facts.
You know, you think about a lot of these guys, like, it's kind of unheard of. Some of these dudes, it's almost unfair when you have to change the rules based on the guy's physicality or their physical makeup. You know it's an issue.
Yeah.
You know it's something, because you know you got guys now that's running, you know, that used to run running back 40s, but they like 270 pounds.
Defensive lineman.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big man
Right.
coming at you, moving that fast. That can deliver a lot of damage. So that's just the nature of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a dangerous game, and they know what they signing up for, and they're getting paid, you know, millions of dollars to play it.
Prime example: Debo Sanders, DJ Metcalf, even
Debo
Aaron
Samuel.
What I say? What I call him? Debo
Sanders.
Sanders.
Come on, get
My
it
bad.
straight,
I thought
bro.
I said Samuels,
Come
but
on, man.
whatever.
Don't disrespect him.
Debo Sanders.
Gonna take your chain.
I said it again. Nah, I feel it. Anyways, there's some big dudes out there in the league that are hitting some people, and it is important for people to be like safe in these situations. Warren, what you got on it, real quick?
I mean, the whole situation to me, I felt like just the whole system broke down. I mean, because a couple of years ago, the movie Concussion came out. I believe that was the name of the movie, right? With
Will Smith, yeah.
And it highlights that doctor pretty much finding out like these head injuries is a big deal.
They're like car accidents down there.
Exactly.
They would equate them to car accidents.
Right. And so ever since that, you know, what the fallout from that movie was the whole concussion protocol, like what you were saying. And I mean, it's in all three levels of football, and it's even in basketball now. It's weird because I seen a couple of days ago a player entered a concussion protocol in basketball. I'm like, man, that's weird. You would think it's just in football, but it's in hoop now too. But I feel like the whole system failed because if you watch the game against Buffalo when Tua originally got hurt and he got up stumbling, you're just like, he's concussed.
Something.
Right. You know, like that's not his back. He's concussed. Like he couldn't walk. You know, like he was having trouble walking. Like that's part of like your motor skills go.
Yeah, he ended up collapsing. I think that's and Stephen A. highlighted. I think a lot of people highlighted. There's plenty of sports pundits out there that talked about it, and you know, and I spoke to it too. I think with this particular situation, even though that they know what they're going into, there still is a level of recklessness and negligence that can't be not talked about.
Right.
And you can't have a situation. To me, it's beyond negligent. It's damn near sick. If you got a guy where you feel like, I don't care what the tests say. I don't even care what somebody on the sideline that's paid, that's getting a check from the NFL, because that's what you got to think about with these medical doctors. If they a team doctor, it's kind of like HR with a company. That the HR's job is to protect the company, not to protect the employees. Their job is to insulate themselves to make sure that they don't have a lawsuit on their hands against the company that can cost the company money. Just like a team doctor, they're getting a paycheck from that team. So they're going to say things that's going to benefit the team, not necessarily the player.
Right.
Now every doctor's individual, you know, so they may be, you know, that depends on the individual and their moral compass. But at the end of the day, they check, say, Miami Dolphins.
Right.
So when you look at something like this and they saying it's a back injury, I'm looking at you like,
yeah, come on.
what you talking about?
Yeah.
Back injury. Dude just collapsed.
Right.
Like that's a head injury. That's you know, neurological. You know, that's something else going on. And for them not to catch that, and remember they had a short week.
Yeah, they did.
He played on Sunday against the Bills, and then they played on last Thursday night. It's a game against the Bengals. And, you know, for him to have that type of response where his fingers seized up.
Right. That's for
And
sure.
to see that, I've never seen that. In it. You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of like these videos where the dudes be getting knocked out. And they just seize up. Like they got, because a lot of times usually when that happens when they get hit right in the jaw and this part dislodges. That's usually how they get knocked out like that, like right in their jaw. And that's how it looked. It looked like that's when it goes to the fingers. It controls all your motor skills all the way down to your fingertips. That's neurological. That's not something to play with. And I think at the end of the day, even though Tua, I'm sure he understands what he signed up for.
Right.
But at the same time, the NFL and the Miami Dolphins have an obligation to protect these guys while they're out there on the field playing this game. And that's going to raise another question, because I think Shannon really talked about it one of the shows I was listening to one morning about retirement.
No, I was going to ask that question.
Quality of life.
Right.
You know, should Tua now in this the ball's in his court? What decision you gonna make? Is playing it quarterback in the NFL worth you not being able to have control of all your motor skills later on in life?
I think Tua was spotted on the practice squad. More so just, being around the field, being around the guys. They called it the FOMA, fear of missing out, wanting to be around them, which also may play it as a double-edged sword as far as like, man, I could still be out there, This is what I think. I think he should honestly take his time coming back if he does want to come back. I don't feel like it'll stop him from trying to come back. I feel like
he got that itch, and if you're in the NFL, probably 99% of these guys and if not all, they have that itch. They want to play. They want to compete. And I think that is a question you have to think about. Like I'll never forget, man. I don't know. Maybe Warren, you might be able to remember this. I know ESPN did maybe a 30 for 30 or some type of special, but I remember they were talking about running backs, and Jerome Bettis was on this one time, and I was watching him get out of bed. Bro, this man is like in his upper 30s, so like only maybe 4 years older than I am. I'm talking about looking like a grandpa.
Couldn't get out of bed. Yeah.
Barely could get out of bed. And that's the reality for a lot of these guys, and we all know running backs take a beating, and they're getting paid, they're getting compensated, but is it worth that level? Right. And especially, and that's just physical attrition. What Tua's going through, and what I feel like that's neurological. Like you're talking about, they were talking about that's the same situation, just different circumstance that happened to Christopher Reeve, the dude that plays Superman. And falling off that horse, and what happened to him and being paralyzed. Like, is it worth that?
Right.
Like, so that's a question he gonna have for himself.
So you say he retires?
I don't know if he does. I think he needs to have a long conversation with himself and his family, and make that decision.
He ain't got no kids, do he?
No.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But if he wants to have kids or be be in a situation where he don't have to be wheeled out to play with them,
right?
He might have to consider that.
Real quick, what I find interesting about this situation was that head doctor. I think he's a neurologist. I can't think of the word.
Neurologist.
Neurologist. Yeah. He was the one that that movie was about. He commented on the Tua situation, and I guess he reviewed like his results or whatever, and he came out and said Tua should retire.
So that was his recommendation?
His recommendation was to retire.
Man.
And
but that's a little, and I'm not discounting what he's saying. I'm absolutely, because a lot of his work was kind of led to a lot of the safety protocols that have been put in place as we speak today, right? In a lot of sports, not just the NFL. He does have a slanted viewpoint. Because
absolutely.
and I'm not saying it's a bad viewpoint.
No.
But what I am saying is that he doesn't like the fact of football in general.
Correct.
The just in the way that it's played.
Correct.
Violent nature.
It's a very violent game, and these men are subjecting themselves to this, right? So he already doesn't like it in general, regardless of what happened to Tua. It could be any situation. He's going to tell any type of player that goes through any type of injury, they should retire. That's just the way I look at it. And I'm not even saying that that's wrong of him. I'm just saying that people need to understand that context. They need to hear that context, because he would talk about it, how much of a detriment and how much damage just the game of football, and not even the guys that get injured, the ones that you don't even know that are injured. Because a lot of times these guys get concussions, they don't even know.
And that's interesting because I know we don't want to stay on this for too long, but Junior Seau, he committed suicide, and they did an autopsy on him, and they found out he did have CTE. And what's really like people have been talking about lately is Antonio Brown. They think he has CTE, and he just might.
Yeah, he wilding right now. Have y'all heard about him?
Yes. He might be a topic for a later show.
We can touch on just a little bit. I'm gonna say this, bro.
I heard some crazy stuff about him and Giselle.
I'm washing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm washing my hands with bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it, you talking about? I heard some crazy story about him and Giselle. Is that what you're talking about?
He
or
went
what?
way too far. Like when I heard, when I saw it on, because I was just, you know, how you just be scrolling through IG or whatever, and I see he posted Tom Brady's wife. Mm-hmm. You know they going through some shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bro, you gonna have to see me.
Yeah, man.
That man let him in his house. Wasn't he living with him?
Yeah. The way he left too, is that a statement? Is the way he's, you know, is that saying something too? I mean, who knows?
I'm done with AB.
Yeah.
But wait, did you guys hear what he did in Dubai?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. This is the latest. So it was that, but then that photo came out. It was also, it was like a combination of those two things.
What the fuck happened in Dubai?
He just, bro, letting his thing hang out.
He was walking the streets naked?
Nah, and he was in a pool in Dubai.
Okay.
And just kind of exposing himself.
What kind of pool was this? I mean, it sounded like a fucking party.
It was like a regular pool with like kids, like a whole bunch of people could be around.
Like, oh God.
Like it could a whole bunch of people could be around.
I'm thinking you on like a rooftop private balcony.
No, it's not. It's not a private. It's not a private.
You got
pool.
bitches around.
He was at basically a public. Was it a hotel pool?
Something like that. Showing
Yeah,
his ass.
yeah.
My dude, I'm a Steeler fan. Don't fuck with me like that, man. You was good. It was that fucking hit.
There's no knock on his talent, and I wouldn't knock on his talent.
His character is what got him kicked out of Pittsburgh.
You know, but I'm done.
Wash your hands with him.
Yeah, because it's what team should pick him up?
Right. Well, let's bring it back real quick. I do want to ask this quick question before we switch topics. Miami, they were looking like a postseason contender. Are they now that with Teddy Bridgewater?
I mean, are they a contender in what?
And making the playoffs.
Oh, I think they can make. They can make the playoffs. They're talented all the way around. But if you're talking about, can they go Super Bowl aspirations or deep in the playoffs? No, not with Teddy Bridgewater. He'll be able to get them there because Teddy is a serviceable quarterback. He gonna be able to make throws and things like that because the talent that's around him. But I and this is my opinion. I'm just I ain't no sports analyst. But that's just my opinion.
Wasn't Teddy Bridgewater in concussion protocol as well, like a few years ago?
Possibly.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. He came back.
Everybody's been through it.
Yeah.
Speaking about concussions, man, let's talk about this guy right here, Kanye West, huh? Was that a fucked up transition? Got hella concussion.
He said he concussed. What he talking about?
This nigga right here is wild.
Yeah, we got to talk about this nigga. I don't give a damn what anybody say. I'm on some Kanye energy with this one. This one's interesting.
Well, I'll let you definitely take over, but let me go ahead and set the setting. Kanye is back in the news this week. He had a fashion show where he decided to wear a White Lives Matter shirt, sweater. It wasn't just him. Don't get me wrong. It was Candace Owens as well. Are you really surprised that he was doing this? And that's really the main question. But not only are you surprised that he's doing it.
Main question. That's an easy answer.
Is it harmful for the black community?
The question to being surprised, no.
Right.
This is Kanye. This is what he does. Shows his ass. Says what he wants to say. Whether some of it make sense. His delivery. This is nothing that's unconventional for him. I will say, does he got an album to promote?
Nah.
Is there? Because it's Kanye, he is entertainment,
right? Very true,
and there's always a motive behind that, and obviously there's a lot of political, motivations behind this. He supported Trump, and he was dog for supporting Trump and wearing a MAGA hat, and all this different type of stuff. But then, when he spoke about it, you're listening to him why. So there's a difference between understanding what he's trying to say, but then there's also an issue with his delivery. A lot of times people say that, oh, I'm just doing this because this is what I represent, or this is just how I feel. I be calling bullshit on that. I'm gonna be honest with you, and this goes for anybody. This doesn't just go for Kanye. This goes for anybody.
Okay.
If you go out into public and wear something, say something, you are expecting a response.
Okay.
And you not only you inciting or inviting a response, you should expect it.
Okay.
You should expect the support, and you should expect the people who don't support it.
Support. Okay.
And so,
okay.
so
Okay. I see what you're
because
saying.
when I
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
him talk about all these controversial things that come up, him wearing the MAGA hat, his opinions, the way he handles things, all the stuff from Taylor Swift, we can go all. There's a litany of examples with him, right? But he speaks as if, oh, I'm just expressing myself. No, but you expressing yourself on a public forum.
Okay.
So why are you upset? Because he gets upset when people get mad that they don't like what he's doing.
Okay.
I'm like, so then why did you come out and express yourself that way, knowing that this is what would happen?
Let me double back that. How is it harmful for the black community? Because obviously he's just outlandish. He's going to say what he want to say. But how is it harmful for the black community on what he's doing?
It's not harmful in this sense. It's only harmful in one area.
Okay.
It's not harmful in the fact that he's wearing a garment that says White Lives Matter.
Okay.
The actual act within itself, the statement, if you want to get very technical with the whole thing, is the statement wrong? No, the white lives do matter. That's obvious.
Okay.
So if we want to get all technical, I want to throw those people out the window. Fuck them. If you coming on here or making any comments saying, well, what's wrong with saying White Lives Matter?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Or saying that, oh, is that statement wrong? Get the fuck out of here. Because you're having a disingenuous conversation when you try to go at the technicality of the term White Lives Matter or the fact that he wore a garment that he designed that says that. Let's get beyond that. Let's peel back the layers and understand what he's really trying to do.
Hear me out on that, though.
So, but let me say this. This is the part where it does, if there's damage or if there's for the black community or any community, it emboldens people who already have that hate in their heart, that real hate in their heart, that real racism in their heart. I'm not talking about the people that don't, but the people that do. It emboldens them basically to justify their feelings. And if it justifies your feelings, it can justify your actions.
Okay, when
and
you
we just
mention
about to touch,
racism-
and
when
we just gonna touch on somebody that's kind of going on with their feelings off a Netflix series. We're gonna talk about that here in a minute.
When you mention like in their feelings as far as racism, what community are you talking about? Who's coming out? Like who?
White people.
Okay.
So but white people that feel that way, because I want to make it clear that obviously that not every white person feels that way.
Right.
So I mean that's obvious. I don't think that necessarily a disclaimer needs to be made about that. But some kid, this YouTube, this the internet. Sometimes you got to, because everybody takes everything out of context. But for in this situation, there are a good solid amount of group of people that feel emboldened that would take this further. And I think my issue with Kanye is not necessarily the fact that he wants to self-express. You have the right to do whatever the fuck you want to do. But he has to understand the damage that it can cause outside of his big-ass fence line of his mansion. He has to understand
What
that.
is he doing though?
But like I said, your words mean something. It's no different than I feel like with Trump or any leader, anyone that has any type of power and influence. And Kanye is one of these people that has a high influence. And it even speaks to, the platform I'm looking at right now. We're going to play it here in a minute. He's on Fox News. Who benefits from him being on Fox News? Let me tell you something right now. Fox News only has him on there. Because obviously Fox News is a right-wing, Republican slanted media platform that reports news in that way. They are not, and you could say the same thing about CNN. They're very slanted to the liberal side. Yeah. So this platform is not going to be fair when it comes to the context of the conversation. It's not a surprise that he's on Fox News. Fox News is using him to justify their opinion
on the community.
And to also to appease their audience, because Fox News has an audience. And that's the one thing that I have issues with it, because Fox News, anyone with Fox News, they'll say, oh, we're just saying our side of it, but they don't. What they fail to tell people is that there's a big portion of the population who are really racist. I'm talking about KKK down there in Alabama. That like those type of people that really feel like black people are inferior, or there's a issue with, you know, the geopolitics of the thing, or the issues with.
Take a breath, nigga. Let me jump in.
Go ahead,
Take
bro.
a breath, nigga. Shit. Goddamn. You just solidified the reason why this nigga is smart.
Who's smart?
Kanye.
There's nobody denying that.
This motherfucker is smart as shit. Why? Because he already has a black community in his pocket, and I hate to say it, we all love him from college graduation. We have a certain liking to him, you know, as far as a black community. We fuck with his shoes, we fuck with his attire, even though I still find it to be trash. But we fuck with it. Everybody, every black community, they fuck with it. Mm-hmm. And every time he's worn some questionable shit like this, White Lives Matter, and once again, every life matter, I don't care, whatever you want to say, whatever you call it, a life is a life, you know what I mean? Like, hands down. But it's striking a nerve with, once again, the racial community. He's playing that line. It's not even that, the MAGA hat. And even back a few years ago, he wore a Confederate flag jacket, had a Confederate flag on it. He is trying to hit a specific nerve and talk to a specific group of people who probably aren't buying his gear like the black community is. This man had made some foam sandals that looked like rocket ships from Ender's Game. What are those foam slippers called? And you know what they are. The one with the holes in it. And you.
But what's your point?
No, not the Crocs. In general.
But what's your point?
In general, people fuck with them. Anybody and everybody will buy them. Mm-hmm. Would they buy that same exact thing if it had a big ass NB for New Balance on that shit?
If he was the spokesperson for New Balance, they
okay,
would.
So basically he's solidifying his brand to both communities. He already got one community in his pocket that's fucking with him and is fucking giving him money. How do you reach out to the other side who he knows probably are, once you, like you said, still some serious, you know, you can't associate Republicans and racists, but some people who support that, support it tough. He is a genius, and now here we are. Like you said earlier, three niggas talking about Kanye West because he wore a simple shirt, and now this dude's in the news. He's grinning and look at he's smiling like, yeah, nigga, I got you talking about me right now. The nigga's saying that shit to me right now, and the shit ain't even playing. He's genius. So it's not surprising that he did it. It's not offensive unless you take it that way. He is literally a spokesperson for his own brand, and he is trying to make a change. And maybe this is that shift.
So let me ask you this, because you said something. Let's not go too dive into the part, are we surprised? I think that's pretty universal. We're not surprised.
Right.
But I want to go on what you just said. It's not offensive. Let's dive deeper on that one.
Why is it offensive?
I'm about to go to it if you let me.
Okay.
How many times have you heard the term White Lives Matter?
One time, probably after the Black Lives Matter.
So I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
So have you heard All Lives Matter?
Yeah.
Or Black Lives? Let's say just All Lives Matter. Prior to Black Lives Matter.
No.
So
nothing was before Black Lives Matter. So was Black Lives Matter an offensive statement?
No. Well, what it is that the reason why they say these things, why the purpose behind All Lives Matter, or White Lives Matter, or which was even stupider, Blue Lives Matter, when that ain't even a person, that's a fucking occupation. That was dumb as hell. Whoever came up with that slogan. But all those things were basically in response to be counterproductive towards Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
That's what they were there for, because this whole idea of All Lives Matter, nobody was coining that slogan until Black Lives Matter came out.
Okay.
So it's kind of the whole idea what Black Lives Matter, and I've been very consistent on this topic about Black Lives Matter. I do not support the organization whatsoever. I do, however, support the concept, because the concept is supposed to highlight, basically, you have a situation where a certain group is getting ignored. A certain group is basically having to jump over more hurdles than the others. Another group is having to deal with more atrocities in the world.
I'm with you.
And have to struggle more comparatively to the others based on the color of their skin.
I'm with
or
you.
the neighborhood that they live in, right?
Got you.
So we can understand that. That's clear.
Got you.
So Black Lives Matter was supposed to highlight that. Now, then you get into the organization. Now you get into the politics of it with the liberal side of things, and the fact that they're trying to
Nah, bring it back, nigga. Bring it back, nigga.
There's that aspect of it, and I don't. And when you follow the money, you follow you follow the truth.
Okay.
And Black Lives Matter organization, I just don't trust.
Okay.
In general, I just don't feel like they're the most
people
up,
running
on
it.
The up and up. However, the concept of it is sound.
Got you.
And it's accurate, and it's true. The idea of white lives matter, or the idea of all lives matter, which was really disrespectful.
Let's stick to white lives matter because forget the middle in between. I want to hear the difference between Black lives and white lives matter.
Okay, let me ask you this.
You got a good argument going.
So when did white lives didn't matter? I thought you wanted. Is there a White History Month? No, you don't need one because it's every fucking day, ain't it?
Damn.
They don't need a day.
Damn.
It's every day for them. Am I right or am I wrong?
Let's go ahead and play this video.
That was a touche.
Let's go ahead and play this video. Let's see what Kanye.
Touche, nigga. Touche.
You get these questions and I give you like these 3-part answers. Is this a cool format for you? Yeah, I love it. Okay, cool.
And I am following it. All right. So you said that your father said when he saw the shirt "White Lives Matter," it's great to see a black man stating the obvious. So, by which I think you meant that's obviously true.
Yeah, that my favorite response because I kept on thinking like, people they're looking for an explanation. People say, well, as an artist, you don't have to give an explanation, but as a leader, you do.
Yes, I think that's right.
So the answer to why I wrote "White Lives Matter" on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah. Why do you think that's so? And I assume the implications, of course.
Come on, nigga. Give me the meat and potatoes. Stop bullshitting.
Why do you think that would be considered controversial?
I didn't want to hear that.
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black
Whoa, wait, what?
and the vernacular that we're supposed to have.
What?
My dad,
How you go from giving them love to then just trying to bring them back?
military brat, and his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. And at the time, if they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college. He would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go to the club and the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of where everyone else was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know.
Bro.
And
Hold on, I hear what he's saying.
when my mom, when the school suggested like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you'll never see him again. Because, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that. You know, so many things that are
She was what?
in Kim's head. You know, they bring influencers like
If he would
no
come,
one even know where
if he came for the kids, he would never see him again.
came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion.
Why are we watching this?
We're gonna.
Doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University,
You can cut it.
or whether it's
Bro,
influential.
bro,
So go ahead, Win.
bro. He only asked you one question. Why did you wear the White Lives Matter?
He didn't answer.
He really didn't, but he did say because White Lives Matter. Okay, where you going with it? Okay, give me something. Give me something.
But that's the thing, though.
And then he spiraled.
I don't think that there's not so what I want to say this is it's not a surprising thing that a celebrity is doing something to create shock value and get people talking about it like we doing right now. That's not a new concept. That's something that goes on that's been going on. Especially when somebody got an album coming out, somebody got a movie coming out. It's about promotion. Good or bad publicity is still publicity. Regardless, right? So for him, that aspect, I'm not shocked by. It's not a situation where I sit there and I'm like, oh man, like I'm so offended. What I will say is that what I don't think he understands, and whether he understands this or not, I don't think he cares. I think that's the bigger thing, is that wearing the shirt itself, the garment, is not going to hurt nobody.
Right.
But it does signify what it means. You also are sitting there next to Candace Owens, which in my opinion, you know, call it what it is, biggest Sambos of the world when it comes to talking about people, and especially talking about black people. That's not by accident. Mm-hmm. It's not by accident that he's having this conversation on Fox News.
Right.
So you have to look beyond those things. If Kanye was going on his own platform and not including other people and just saying, this is me, this is my self-expression, I maybe be able to digest it better, or at least respect it a lot more. But the fact that you're shoulder to shoulder and rubbing elbows with people that have a certain agenda, like a Candace Owens, like a Tucker Carlson, bro, I don't respect you, and I don't respect what you're doing. The part that you asked earlier, how is it a bad thing, is like I said, it can embolden people that do have the capability of administering harm. You know, we talked about it, you know, episodes ago with the shooter that went to Buffalo and killed all those black people, and then said sorry to the white person that he shot at the grocery store.
Grocery store, yeah.
People like him would love a shirt like this. Would probably pay top dollar for one.
And that goes back to what I said.
But what I'm saying, you know, because these are people that believe in the replacement theory and this whole thing about white people getting washed out because everybody's mixing, the whole concept, right? Whatever your motivations are, whatever conspiracy theories you want to look into and find, fine. But what I'm saying is that is what it can do. Wearing that type of shirt can embolden them. Now, then you ask, like, okay, well, what damaged it? Well, we won't know what damaged. Because I can say this, if another dude shoots up a grocery store and they wear one of them shirts, I bet you Kanye ain't going to feel the same way.
Fuck. You said that. Okay. I give you that.
He not gonna feel the same. He not gonna just say I was just wearing a shirt because White Lives Matter is true. He's gonna feel a little bit guilty behind that because you emboldened somebody to act on it. Not saying it's your fault. Obviously, it's not his fault. But that you had some part to play in that. It's no different than what Trump was doing when he was saying on Twitter. He emboldened them people to charge that Capitol Hill and go up there and people get hurt.
And they did.
Right? That's why they took the Twitter away, because they're like, your voice is too dangerous. And I'm not a person that's about cancel culture. But if you're a person that has that big of an influence on people, you are saying the words you say have so much weight that you have that matters.
Right. It does.
And you're gonna have to deal with that.
And that's why I said with this, That's what I said about the shirt. Like, I was with Kanye for a minute. I don't care. White Lives Matter. Go ahead. Say it. Love it. Wear it. Rock it. Get that community. Get that niche of people that aren't buying your stuff to get them on board with you and support.
Okay, let me ask you this, because I know you stuck on that, because that's what you were saying.
Well, no, not after this bullshit he just said. Fuck what he said.
But no, I want to ask you, because that's what you was thinking, regardless of what you heard or whatever, but that's what you was thinking.
Right.
Do you really think that's the reason why he wore that shirt?
No.
Was to get people to buy his fucking sneakers?
White
folks already buy his sneakers.
Not really.
Yes, they do. I see white people all the time wearing his Yeezys. All the time.
It's difficult to say, man. It depends on that person too, because honestly, culturally, black people spend money on shoes. Culturally,
but I think
culturally,
but I also think that's the zeitgeist though. That's the culture right now, and right now it's all bunch of people: Asians, black, white, Mexican. All people are buying these type of shoes, these designer shoes. That's a thing right now. Mm-hmm. Right now, designer shoes, which like Kanye's, Balenciagas, whether it's Dior, whatever it is, people are buying it,
right?
Because that's in style. So what I'm asking you is do you think the purpose of him wearing this White Lives Matter shirt, do you think that the motivation behind it is so people can buy more of his sneakers? I call bullshit on
Ultimately, yes.
I don't think so.
I think it's something like we're doing. It's to build a rise.
To me, it's to
get
shake
people,
shit up.
Exactly, to get people to look in or be interested in, what's happening?
That's not going to make nobody buy no more Yeezys.
Let me ask you this question. Besides this silly little stunt right here, when was the last time you really heard anything about Kanye West?
Kim.
Okay.
The situation with the kids.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Skeet.
Okay. Shit. Well, that is bullshit too, though, huh?
And he was on some
But
shit
I mean, that wasn't even like an album dropping. It wasn't like collabos. It wasn't anything.
That speaks to him, though. That speaks to him. He is an intelligent guy. Obviously, he's
Smart.
a musical genius. When you talk about engineering and creating an album, creating a sound, we're not even going to get into all that because we understand how great he is on that front. But when it talks about how he feels, how he articulates himself, how he self-expresses, obviously there's an issue. Mm-hmm. Obviously.
He got CTE.
Because this right here, man, I'll be honest, man. Let me. I don't know if y'all can pull it up. You might. Boosie, there's a whole bunch of people that has some shit to say about this. Like, you know how Lil Boosie don't give a fuck. He'll say what it is. He posted something. He basically had Kanye like white faced, like he looked like a bleached guy. I was crying. It said, "Just do it."
Wow.
Like with the Nike, like he going over the Nike or something like that. But he talked about it, and you know, there's a lot of people that are putting in their opinion on this, and like I said, I think if you look at it from a surface level, you know, it's just Kanye being Kanye, and I don't think nobody is surprised. But if you want to ask the question, is it going to cause harm, or is there a reason for the controversy? For me at least, it's the fact that if you embolden anybody to feel like that is something that you can act on, because that term is not the issue. It's what it's supposed to represent. Saying White Lives Matter is to basically say that you had no reason to say Black Lives Matter. Nobody was saying White Lives Matter prior. So the only reason why you're saying it is because you're upset or it annoys you that someone came up with the slogan for Black Lives Matter, to insinuate as if that wasn't already the case. Right. That's what the purpose is behind it.
It's like underlining.
Right. You're trying to undercut that. Same with All Lives Matter. Same like fucking Blue Lives Matter. That was
some bullshit.
Dumbest shit I ever heard.
Hey, zoom in there. So, talking about some dumb shit. Have you guys been paying attention to this Jeffrey Dahmer little situation? They got a little Netflix series about him, and obviously it was based out in the 90s and the early 90s of a serial killer who predominantly were killing black people and homosexuals. Have you been paying attention to that?
Yeah, I just finished up watching the Netflix series.
It's got people spooked.
Jeff was another breed.
Right.
He's another breed.
What you got on it, Warren? Let me hear what Warren got on it.
I haven't wrapped it up completely. I still got one episode left. But my thoughts on it was, it's truly sickening, man. Like, and it's just sickening in a different way. Because when I first went into it, it's like, to me, I feel like the mind, like you're kind of predetermined. Like when you hear serial killer, you think of like Jason, or you think of like Michael Myers, somebody killing somebody in a park,
right,
stabbing them to death. You know what I mean? And This one was like, it was different. Like, he planned it out. You know, he got them to their place. He got them comfortable. You know, and then like he he's pretty much drugging them. You know, and he gets them in a state to where they're just incoherent, and then the guy he's just sick. You know what I mean? Like he's sick, and you watch the story. You know, like Rob, you said it. I think a couple episodes ago. Like, they kind of glorify him and they talk about his background, like where he came up from, and like kind of giving him an excuse. You know, and you know he did come out. I don't know if it's true or not, but in the show, I mean, this is a spoiler, but he says that he felt like something was wrong with him. You know, he told his dad, like, something's wrong with me. I need help. You know, like he was reaching out for help, and his dad kind of really just brushed it off and ignored it. You know, he really didn't like sit down and look at his son and see that his son really had major issues. And I mean, you really got to watch the show and just see how he came up and the stuff he was interested in. Like, there was just signs. There were signs through the whole thing. Like, and I don't know how his dad didn't pick up on it, where it's just like, all right, there's something really wrong with my son.
I got to pick up on something what you just said. Now, granted, before I say what I got to say, we do have to separate this. This is Hollywood. This is entertainment.
Okay.
And people take liberties with these things, so obviously we can't say everything that was in this Netflix series is 100% accurate to what happened.
Correct.
Now, I have watched, the show has kind of gotten me to, do my own research and watch some real, episode of him, of like being recorded and stuff like that. I'll be honest, whether you like this show or not, you got a bravo to the actor that played this dude, because he
hats off.
Perfect performance.
Good job,
Because I was
man.
like, dude, I don't know how you really transformed yourself into this killer. But I want to speak on it because you brought up his dad a lot, and then we basing this off the show. So spoilers, if you haven't seen it, you've been warned.
Turn this off. But don't.
Yeah, don't do that. But you've been warned. You brought up his dad a few times. You didn't bring up his mama.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I watched the show.
Okay.
She's way more responsible for this situation.
For his issues.
She tried. Spoiler again. She tried to kill herself multiple times. She had what 20 some medications while she was pregnant.
Right.
You don't think that has some type of effect on the fetus that's coming out and
Wow.
him being born? So this whole idea when he's young, saying that he always felt this way, that would lead to that. Now I think I know what you're talking about is when his dad he took an opportunity where it was like some roadkill. There's a part in the show where, and they basically experiment on the roadkill a little bit in the garage.
Right.
Him and his dad. I think that, and I'm just looking at it from my point of view. I could be, like I said, I don't know the accuracy of the show versus the real life, but based on what the show depicted, it's like, I feel like that was just a bonding moment between father and son. He found something that his son was interested in, that they both he could teach him something about the anatomy of an animal, that type of thing. And that's kind of where it went. Because I look at it this way. That could have been any one of us or anybody else, and we wouldn't have went out there killing and eating people. True. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that could have went a whole nother direction. You could have been the best taxidermist ever. Like, you know what I mean? Just not you went another direction. So if you want to equate that, because your dad, showed you something with this that led you to be a serial killer, I call bullshit on that.
Right.
I'm not putting that on him.
When I looked it up on the internet, man, I was looking at the real Kevin or Jeff.
Dahmer.
There you go. Fuck this guy's name. Anyways, and it showed that he was angry, and it said the story, he's been angry since he was 14, just never understood really what it meant. And obviously he wasn't getting the help from the right people to really talking that out. But like, even if you're angry at the age of 14, I remember that. Like, I used to just be beating my brother up all the time. It don't mean I'm out here killing people. Everyone's angry. It's all on how you deal with it when you grow up, And I grew up in a single parent home. So
I think also too, society, when you alone with your thoughts, isolation can have a huge effect. And if the show is accurate to any part, his mama left him when he was 17 years old in the house. She just abandoned him. She took the other son with the brother, who apparently, from what I did was doing research on it, he changed his name. Like, he don't even have no affiliate. He didn't want no affiliation with the last name Dahmer or nothing like that. Like, they didn't even touch on his little brother at all.
Right.
But she took him and left him at 17 years old, like in this house. So he's drinking on his own.
Like she knew something was wrong.
No, she was psycho. If you watch the show, she had a lot of health conditions and a lot of mental health issues that she was dealing with. Like I said, ever since he was a little kid, she's done tried to kill herself multiple times, like as he was coming up. So she was a very paranoid individual, and she ended up just leaving him. His dad didn't even know. His dad, like later, like what, maybe 4 or 5 months later, showed up to the house with his new wife and was like, hey, coming over and trying to, introduce. And then he finds him there at the house with hella Budweisers all over the spot. Him just drinking. This 17-year-old, he's still in high school.
Yeah.
So that has an effect on the child. What I think that the show is trying to basically, create entertainment. They're trying to create tension, trying to create something that's, something visual that you can watch and you can enjoy or learn, whatever the case may be. I think the show did a good job in that aspect. But there's other controversy behind this show that I want to touch on, but I want to hear what you got to say as far as what you've learned about the show or what you've heard from other people.
I haven't really seen the show, and what I've heard from other people is this dude's crazy, lures you into your home and drugs you, makes you go to sleep, chops up your body, and eats it later on some real Hannibal type shit,
Pretty much. I mean, in a nutshell.
That's sick.
It is, but
That's sick. I mean, why would I even watch a show like that? That's just sick.
That first episode gonna hook you.
Yeah. But see, to me, it wasn't about like him being like angry as a kid. Like he had a problem like where he gets off like sexually on dissecting
People,
dead bodies. There's a moment in the show where I think his dad took him fishing, and his dad was showing him how to gut a fish, and he was just like, Dad, can I do it? Can I do the next one? And he did it, you know what I mean? And when he gutted it, it's just like he got off doing that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what his main problem was. Like, dude, like, he couldn't just meet a guy or a girl regularly like us, you know what I mean, for the night, one night stand, whatever it is, what it is. Like, he had to like get off by dismembering these people and doing what he did, eating them. You know what I mean? Like, that was his sexual pleasure.
I think that when you watch you do have to separate between the entertainment and the historically accurate. Like I said, I watched a few interviews where it's the real interviews of him, not off the show. He says that he's not insane.
Yeah.
He's he says that he fully knew that what he was doing was wrong. It was just something it was a compulsive reaction to him feeling that way. It was something that was just an urge of him. It was like being thirsty.
Yeah.
Like it just like you would naturally, if you're thirsty, you drink water, and it was kind of one of those things that he just couldn't stop. And he said he tried to. He said it at times, and he said, but then there was also gaps in spots where he wasn't killing people because he was trying to, and then also at the same time because that environment didn't allow him to do what he wanted to do and things like that. So it's a very interesting, case. But I do want to speak on to the controversy of the show.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily the show, so I want to. There's no shots at the people that acted in the show because the actress that plays Glenda Cleveland, like, she did a really good job as well. So like the show itself, I want to say is an excellent show of entertainment.
Very well put together.
Very good show.
Yeah.
The controversy behind that is, are we glorifying a serial killer?
Yeah, that sounds like it.
And are we trying to make excuses for what the byproduct was? And there's also an underlining, with homosexuals, with black people, because those were predominantly his victims of choice. Right. But I watched a lot of his interviews, and they even touch on it in the show from his perspective. He wasn't targeting black people like he didn't like black people. He even talked about his own homosexuality. He said he was confused in himself. Like he didn't even, that was an internal struggle with himself because he obviously was attracted to men. And he couldn't, he didn't like women in that way. But there's a lot of conversation in regards to, should this show have been made? Is this just highlighting a serial killer's life instead, we're ignoring the victims? Like there's a lot of things that come into play about it. What are y'all thoughts on that?
I call bullshit because if you look at the show, I don't think it's really giving you like tools and ideas to how to be a serial killer. You watch the movie Saw, like that shows you how to be like you watch all those series of Saw, like that shows you how to be a serial killer. I mean, just think about you wake up, you're tied up, you don't know where the hell you're at, and all you got to do is follow the clues, and if you don't follow it right, then you're dead. Like to me, Saw is more of a movie I feel like should get more some type of backlash because it's more. I think it's more intricate in a killer sense.
Do you think that this is because this really happened?
But see, I feel like a Saw could really happen. I think honestly, I think that
someone
really does
playing a game with your life.
No, but I'm saying, because this was an actual. This person actually existed. What happened? What he did. The
based on a real story.
It's based on a true story.
Right.
I think that has something to do with it. And I'm not saying I disagree with you. Right. I actually think that, it's entertainment. Mm-hmm. They make movies and TV shows and miniseries about, things that have, that are translated or being depicted on screen from real events. And they happen all the time. And I think you got to take the good with the bad if you're telling a good story. And so I
how'd you feel about it at the end? Like, was he a hero? Was it like he?
Oh
was
no.
So
There was never
feel?
no, and that's something that some people are saying, and if they're saying that, then they haven't watched the show. There's not at any point in this in the show that they made him feel like a hero, like he was being celebrated.
But he was a star.
It was just telling you
he's
obviously because he's the performance that's being put on. He's the catalyst behind everything. He's the one controlling what's going on. The victims, they do pay close attention to those victims, especially the families. So you really do feel you have an emotional connection with them and you really understand, how hurt and devastated they are, especially once they find out, and some of the events that transpired, like you're really, on that, and they dive deep into the situation. I think out of this whole thing, what really was the most shocking and was the most upsetting for me, it was the courtroom scene when that judge said what he said, that he did when he got caught with that child, the one that survived, that he was taking pictures of. Yeah. And that judge, which happens all the time, and that's where now this is where the privilege comes in, the white privilege, and getting with the corrupt cops and the cops not doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Talk to me.
The judge basically didn't want to give him any harsh time and penalty for one of the, not a killing. This is before they knew he was a murderer. This was a close. He had murdered before, but they didn't know it was any ties. But he had a young boy who was around 14, 15. Right. He got away. And he was drugged. And they tried to, charge him for that. And they found him guilty. But the judge on the sentencing basically said it would be too harsh to give him actual jail time. Yeah. So they basically gave him like probation and like house arrest.
For kidnapping and dragging a
right.
kid.
And that spoke to, okay, if he was black or another race, would he have gotten that same type of mercy?
He'd be in a slammer like MC
and
Hammer.
This show definitely touches on that aspect with the police, the fact that the neighborhood that they was in, they was ignored. The woman that forget the actress's name that played the neighbor, but she made multiple calls to the police about him. I'm talking about endless. There's real life like 911 calls, recordings that she did, and they did nothing. They ignored it. There was a situation where they allowed him to go back in with one of the victims that he ended up killing. So it's a part in the movie, and like I said, I have to say this because we're speaking at if that actually went down is how it went down.
Right.
They take liberties with shit. I'm just going based on what the show is, but the victims are real. What they did depict, the victims are real in this situation. But they did touch on with the police officers, not only what they did, they got suspended, paid, and then brought back,
and then reinstated,
and then got an award.
If this series, if it does anything, it makes you hella mad about
that part.
How
is when
how the system failed.
Yeah, that part. Yeah,
there was multiple. The smell, like there was the smell even at the grandmother's house, and there was a smell at the apartment that he was at, and it was being ignored. And like Rob was saying, the neighbor was making numerous 911 calls from what she was hearing next door. Something's going on over there. Like, you guys need to check it out. And she was calling the same cops that actually busted him.
Yeah.
For months on end. The same guys that actually took him down was not responding to her. Was not listening to what she was saying.
Did they give her test questions or something? Like, say the word ask? She's like, axe. No,
they were just blatant. They're just blowing her off.
Well, it was because of the neighborhood that they was in. You got to think about this. This is late 80s, early 90s, around that time. And you're looking, and it's a situation where, it's also, it spoke to, they touched on the homosexuality part too. Because there was a part where, even, and especially we got to talk about the time, because the times do reflect how people felt, especially around homosexuality. There was a lot of people, it was very taboo back then, even then. And so some people didn't want to touch it. So, because knowing that he had maybe some gay things around in the house, or he would say that, oh, it's just gay stuff. That's how he would use.
Right.
The cops didn't really want to touch that. Because there's a whole ignorance behind AIDS and how that got around. So some people are like, all right, I don't even want to mess with it.
Right.
So they played on that part a lot as well. So that had some part, a role to play in it. But when you talk about the victims, them being vast majority of them being homosexual. I think 10 or 11 out of the 17 were black.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it would pose the question: was he targeting them? I've watched enough interviews of him, the real interviews of him, to say that I don't think that he was racially motivated.
I agree with you, Rob.
And I'm just saying that
I
think that he was attracted to black men.
Yes.
I think he like an actual sexual, I don't think he went about it in a way where, okay, they're black, I want to kill them because they black. Like, I don't think that's the idea. But I can say that I do understand people's sentiment behind the fact that they feel like it could be glorifying his life.
Right.
I will say this: he got what he deserved in jail, because they bruh man took him out. If you watch the show, that was kind of, I ain't gonna lie, it's as bad as it might be to say, that was a little satisfying to watch. Just the fact that he put them people through that, them families went through that, and then they got, kind of got what he deserved in a way.
Okay.
Like, there was some justice delivered. Whether however way you feel about it is what you feel, but there was a little satisfaction with that.
There's one specific one too, like when it gets to a point in the show where the deaf black guy.
That was hard.
Man, but just how they put it together, the show put it together, like how, like, for I think like a whole couple episodes, you don't even see Dahmer. They're just like
they just talking on him.
They're highlighting on the deaf.
And I think that speaks to the production, the people, the director, the writers. Like, you can say whatever you want to say about the show. You can say that it's disgusting. You could say that you are offended by it. You could say that it's glorifying Dahmer or a serial killer or just serial killer acts, because they talked about Gacy in the show too, briefly. But you can't take away from the production quality. Man. The show is an excellent show. They put together an excellent show.
Okay,
and
that's good to hear.
For people to say that, it's like, as Warren just said it about Saw. There's plenty of movies and TV shows out there that are just as violent or just as tense but nobody's talking about it because it's not based off something real. So to you, it's not necessarily about the grotesqueness of what you're watching. It's the fact that if it happened or not. Right. And I'm like,
crazy.
so I got to look at, that to me is a little biased. I think at the end of the day, it's entertainment. They making this for a reason. The show that itself, it was a really good show.
Good show.
Like they put together a good show.
Check it out.
I may have to take a look at it, man. I just looked at the highlights of what actually transpired in real life, and maybe if I see it in a different light, maybe I have a different.
It
view
make
on
you
it.
research, man. I ain't gonna lie, like stuff like this. So, cause one of my favorite movies of all time is Zodiac. Like I love that movie, and every single time I watch that movie, I find myself researching about the Zodiac killer. Yeah. Like I find and I think that's a lot of people are asking the question. I think that's important to bring up is why was this made? Mm-hmm. People are fat. People do testing all the time. They do surveys. There's hella fucking serial killer shows out there.
People are grotesque.
People love watching this type of stuff and understanding what a serial killer. It is good entertainment. So it kind of was lightning in the bottle. The fact that this was based on a real thing. People like watching these crime shows, the First 48s and all these different shows where it's some type of killer or something like that getting away with it. There's plenty of documentaries and stuff like that about this. And so people like watching that. They do testing results on what people watch. And this is one of those things that a lot of people view. So when you got streaming services out there, they look at the algorithm, they look at the analytics and like, damn, we got this many people watching this show.
This nasty shit.
This was just something that was a real life event, and they translated it to a Netflix series. I think it was inevitable that people were actually gonna like it. But like myself, like I said, Zodiac, I always find myself researching like about that shit. And it's the same way with this. I watched this show and I was like, man, I need to watch. I said, let me look at how I was basically looking at it to see what the accuracy level was. Basically, okay, how well did they translate from what really happened to the show? And I can say from the actor's perspective,
it was good.
That dude, man.
Heath Ledger type shit.
Damn it, bro. He completely transformed. Because I know this actor. He's played in quite a few stuff. And, man, he completely transforms into this man.
He showed his ass.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
So
I don't know if I can do it. Biceps and booty cheeks in the freezer, saving them for later. That's some nasty shit right there.
Yeah, he's a sick motherfucker.
Man, goddamn.
Say that, bro.
Well, I definitely want to thank you guys for hanging in there with us tonight, tuning in to another episode of About the Night, episode 24. There's a lot of great things that we have out there.
Episode 24.
I said that?
Flip it, bro.
That's dyslexic in a motherfucker right there. I ain't even read that shit. I just said 24. 42 in the motherfucking building. This 52 keeps creeping up on us that quickly. Go check us out on Instagram. Like I mentioned, we had a Monday through Friday edition of Nightlife. Recently, we were just out there in the news talking about how we can continue to make this city safe as things continue to transpire out here, as we continue to grow as a city and a destination that people want to come to as far as the city of Sacramento. So continue to check us out on our media platforms and see if there's anything that's interesting. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You're now rocking with the best crew. Got my guy over there, Mr. War Ready, Mr. Warm. Got my guy right here, Mr. Suede _ Coates, Mr. Rob Coates himself. And then you're rocking with the King of Sacramento, Winton. Let's dive right on into it. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Appreciate you.